Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
Some of what I gather is associated with Satanism and black magic is actually a form of social protest.
Yeah. Well, Satanism as we know it today, as I understand it, got its start in the court of Louis XIV, Versailles, which was a pretty amoral atmosphere. Everybody cheating on everybody else, everybody, backstabbing everybody else. Mm-hmm. And this priest came and he started, here's the latest novelty, do a black mass. And they got into it for a while. And finally, the king drew the line and, put this priest in jail and said that was that. Mm. But this whole kind of concept of the black mass kind of continued. Its most famous description is in a book called Là-bas over there by a French novelist called Eastman. And this guy goes to a black mass and he describes it. And the author presumably did this. Mm-hmm. We don't know exactly how it turned out because in the novel, the narrator gets disgusted by what's going on and leaves. So you can only imagine what went on after that.
Mm-hmm. But this is a novel.
It's a novel, but it apparently did to some degree reflect certain occult practices.
Because there were certainly many, many claims about satanic rituals, and it's quite controversial. You have the False Memory Foundation, and you have, on the other hand, the Church of Satan.
Yeah. Well, the Church of Satan is interesting. It was founded by a former carnival barker named Anton Zandor LaVey.
Yes.
And he cobbled together his satanic Bible from a number of sources. Mm-hmm. And one of the most important academic scholars of Satanism, an Italian named Massimo Introvigne, says that the chief ideological influence on Mr. LaVey was none other than Ayn Rand. Because what he's talking about in the satanic Bible of his is, the triumph of individual will. Mm-hmm. Everybody else be damned. It's about me. I hell with all of these codes that, tell me to be a nice person and, turn the other cheek. I'm not going to do that because that's just bull. Mm-hmm. So weirdly, Ayn Rand, the darling of, the conservative right, turns out to have been kind of, one of the apostles of Satanism as it manifested in the late 20th century.
Well, I see the correlation, but even before Ayn Rand, you had Aleister Crowley.
Yes.
Pronouncing the law of magic, do what thou wilt.
Yes, and Crowley was an extremely paradoxical figure. And the more I look into this stuff, the more I tend to think of it in terms of taste.
Yes.
That is to say, well, what is your taste in food? Well, I don't really like spicy food. I really, and so on. And in occultism and spirituality, I tend to see more and more in this light. Mm-hmm. And Aleister Crowley is for people who like strong, pungent, and slightly rank flavors in their spirituality.
Yeah.
I have to say, A, that's not for me. Mm-hmm. B, if it's for you, all well and good. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely, an attempt to transgress. And there's a power in transgressing limits because a limit of any kind, in a sense, contains energy.
Yes.
Once this limit is released or broken, the energy flows out.